Q&A on the CU podcast. You want to ask me the first one there?
Sure. Ian asks, from Brendan M. Velasquez, what advice does Pat have for people who want to write and publish their own book?
So I try to clarify, did you mean like fiction or nonfiction on Twitter? And he said no, like a video game guidebook.
I'm assuming probably he means what you've already written and published.
Okay. But I had to make sure, because I'll be like, oh, fiction, nonfiction is different. So I don't know, Brandon, if you want to do your own book, I would say this. My advice I'd give you is to make sure you really think it through before you start. Because with the NES book in particular, went back and forth between me and Ian when we were designing it originally, and it ended up in a different place when we started. And I'm glad that process happened, because it's a better book for it. But at the start, it wasn't sure how in depth the reviews were going to be, if there was going to be simple descriptions or not, things like that. And it turned into something, I guess, more ambitious than when it started. And so you really got to have a good design, a good design document laid out in terms of what you want to cover. Like, how in depth do you want to get? Do you want to, actually review the games? Do you want to do just a description of them? How historic do you want to get? Are you going to cover foreign games? Are you going to cover weird stuff? Really have a well thought out design of what you want it to be. Otherwise, it can spiral out of control, or you will never get off the ground. I spoke to someone who had an idea for a Nintendo book that was so ambitious at the time, and this is what after mine came out, where they wanted to do I'm talking maps of the stages of every single game. They want to do that in depth. We're talking it'd probably be 8 to 10 pages per game.
Encyclopedia Britannica volume.
Yes, over the top. There's no need to play the game. We just walk you through it every game. I'm like, dude, you can do that, but your book will be 1,500 pages long at least, and it'll take you forever. You'll never complete it. You'll just never complete it. So you have to be able to complete it. Obviously, you can't write about 10 pages per game or 5 pages. You'll never do it. It's just too much. You want to get an editor up front, which is what I did for the Super Nintendo book, because it was too much work for me to do the own editing. And plus, I'm not a perfect editor. I'm competent, but I'm not really that great. And you want to have someone that sort of helps guide you along the process. You have to decide if you can do it yourself or if you want a team to help you. And I would recommend having more than one set of eyes on it. And then, obviously, if the amount of writing kills you, you want a team. But most importantly, if you get a team, you get what you pay for. And while there would be some competent writers that could do it for free, it'd be probably better to pay writers that have done it professionally before, or at least show that they are professional. So you should have people submit samples that shows that they are competent writers. Anyone can say, I want to write a game review. It doesn't mean you know how to write or know how to review games. You got to know how to do both. So you have to know how to, I guess, wrangle a team together and have a unified vision that you communicate to your team, and sort of keep them in line as you go through it. Because writing's a long process, especially if it's a library of 700 or 800 games, where it can easily go off the rails if you don't do an editing job and make sure the writers know what their mission is and keeps on that mission throughout their assignments. So I just threw a lot at you. And also make sure that you realize that while you think it might be fun doing a nonfiction book like this, it doesn't end up being, it's work. It's still fun to play games, but it's still work. Writing is still work at the end of the day, and while you can enjoy it, it's still work you have to get done and keep on track. So yeah, it's a lot of project management too. You have to be a good project manager for a book like this. So I'm good at doing this, I guess, these sort of books, even though deep down it's not like what I set out to do. I rather write fiction. I think I'm better at writing fiction, but I can project manage, and that's why these books can happen. So that's my, I guess, advice to you. And pay your contributors. It's worth it. It's the ethical thing to do. In business too there. Ian, do you have any advice for writing and publishing your own guidebook there?
Nope, because I've never done it.
Well, you've contributed. Contributed a lot to
I would suggest that you make sure at the outset you know what format and what style you want the writing to be in, and stick to it.
You a little ornery about some of the rewriting stuff from the NES book? You don't think it's a better book because they're a little...
I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm just saying It's something that should be known at the outset.
Well, things change and designs change,